Hello once again, and welcome. My name is Jay, aka Lord Gazumba. I'm really excited about bringing to you today the prelude to my adventure number 825, entitled Mongrels of the Putrid Tongue Revival. And I need to give you a little bit of background on who the Mongrels of the Putrid Tongue were, and my thoughts for running this adventure now. Let's start with what's going on in the world as in my campaign. We've had a major adventure event going on in Greyhawk up until recently. The main mercenary group, of course I got a wind blowing around in here now. The main mercenary group, the Iron Brigade, has been running expedition to the ruins of Greyhawk. A very good campaign series where it kind of takes the ruins of Greyhawk and kind of puts them in synopsis form, where you won't run through. It's not a crawl like the original old Greyhawk ruins was, but I like the storyline behind it. I fell in love with it. We ran it for a long time. Just finished that up, Expedition to the Ruins of Greyhawk, Chapter 6, which was adventure number 816. So it wasn't that long ago. I don't want to ruin it for anyone who hasn't run it, but in that there's a synopsis of Ias has an entire underground, as an army coming through the Underdark to attack Greyhawk City. There's a lot of other things going on, a lot of other intrigue going on. You have to go through all three towers: Tower of War, Tower of Magic, the Tower of Zagig, at the ruins of Greyhawk. Find out what's going on and stop it, and then it turns into a subplot after that, and you find out that Vane, who's one of Ias's lesser Boneheart, but he always has failed, he's a high-level mage, has cloned Ias's mother, Igwolf, and she's simulacrum of her, and the creature is becoming self-willed, and that leads off to another whole series of events. So what we did was, as we were doing that with the Iron Brigade, we started a new campaign with first levels that were basically a subsidiary of the Iron Brigade, were hired out by them kind of through the Order of Ulick base headquarters in Greyhawk, and they're entitled Iron Fury. So this was a new group of first. We started, and I think the first adventure number, I gotta put my old man glasses on, sorry, was adventure numbers 808. Now they've only done 5 adventures so far, and we did some sidebar quests to find information out for the Iron Brigade during this, and it worked very well. The link ups were cool, so we had high level stuff and low level stuff going on, basically within the same campaign context. It worked very well. I was very happy with it. So this group's only done 5 adventures, Iron Fury. And one of the adventures, they went up to Diamond Lake to find out some information, to try and track down this individual named Lavashti that kept coming up, who it was. And the Iron Brigade had asked them to do this. They went up to Diamond Lake and came in contact with a gentleman named Lazaire, who turned out to be friendly to them. They fought a bunch of Balabar Schmenk's goons, and then they found an actual specialty priest of Igwolf in one of the abandoned mines up there, and they dealt with her and found out who got some information about Lavashti back to the Iron Brigade. So, if you know anything about what I guess Wizards has done, Diamond Lake was a central point for this Age of Worms campaign start, and we didn't ever use that. But I pulled the maps for it and some other things for it to use to get some extra names up. But I've been using Diamond Lake for years. Diamond Lake has been a very good campaign area setting for lower level Greyhawkers. They've been running up mining runs up and back. We had some of the locations developed. particularly as my one player, Bill, will like the Tickling Feather. You can figure out what kind of place that is in Diamond Lake, but it'll be on the map. You'll see tomorrow evening. So Lazare has contacted, tried to make contact with them, and has found something disturbing he wants them to investigate. So to give you a little bit more background of where this group comes from, we're going to go a ways back in my timeline. So if we look at going back to adventure number 267, this is in campaign year 614, and now we're in 635. This is 21 years ago campaign time. That's the first Mongrels of the Putrid Tongue adventure I ran. Here's some other key ones. Number 276, Mongrels Chosen One. 297, Staking Lossels. 334, The Brazen Mongrels. 335, Saving the Women of Elmshire. 377, Hunting the Mongrels. And 417, The Final Battle Against the Mongrels, which ended in campaign year 621. So with the exception of a kind of a reattempt for someone trying to bring them back, which was called Mongol Resurrection, it's been 14 years since anyone's heard of this group in my campaign. And so now 14 years later, back in Diamond Lake where a lot of the original stuff started, Lazare has seen some things that trouble him and concern him. Particularly individuals with their tongues removed. So he's contacted Iron Fury to see if they can come up and take a look at it, and that's where we would start off this adventure. I'm going to bring this group back because they're a lot of fun. You can see I have a picture of their shield with over the tongue, along the, I guess a gobble with a tongue sticking out. It's an interesting group. Makes a lot of it doesn't make sense, but it's kind of entertaining and fun. This group does two things, and the first thing they do is they do not like to, if they at all possible, kill their victims. They like to put them down unconscious or in the negatives, and then take out their tongues. The more tongues one holds, they put them on their shield, they put them around their necklaces. The more tongues that they have, the greater stature they have within the Mongol group. Now, it's called the Mongrels of the Putrid Tongue because it's kind of orc-based. What you have orcs, as you know, tend to attempt to breed with almost anything. So you can see a lot of crossovers of orcs with other creatures. And that can be a variety of things, some that are in the game already, some that are not. But we're going to start off this revival very basically. But I'll say this, if you have never in your life come across this creature, but a lossel, you're in for a treat. So we're actually trying to get figures made, painted up for, we probably may not have them ready for tomorrow night, but we will in the future, made so that we actually have the actual figures that we can utilize for this creature. It will be a fun time. So that's the main gist of the adventure. They're going to go up to Diamond Lake, investigate this issue of people having their tongues removed. They'll find a lady or two is missing in the town, and then they'll be sent to investigate, and maybe they can find out how possibly this, I don't know if you want to call it a cult or group, is now making an attempt at a comeback in this area. And this is the main area where they from. They were Greyhawk City area based. They never spread out beyond that in my campaign. So this is the smack dab area that they started in years ago. Give you a little feedback on some of the cooler maybe characters that you may see. This is an open experience group. So what that means is that in order to create a lot of variety, and if we have people that aren't here, I have every one of my players and with NPCs. Everyone has 3 characters. Now they don't play 3. Very rarely are they going to play 3 at once. They've developed 3 characters up, so the adventuring group tends to be decent size, 15 to 18 characters, but usually they get to choose 2 of 3. But all the characters get the same. It's joint experience. We do that because we all have busy lives, and sometimes someone can't make it, and that way they're not worried about missing something. But they go up slower. So this group's already done 5 adventures, and the average is level 2 and 3 in there so far. So give you an idea of some of the characters. You have Fion, female specialty priest of Tritherian human. She's actually from Altamira, and her parents disappeared and were murdered in Altamira, and she's here to train. Tritherian has a big following here. She's here to follow in the footsteps of the great Trevin, who is a member of the Iron Brigade, and also has the Trevin's Hall Shield Hall in Narwhal, and so she's following. He's a specialty priest of Tritherian as well, and Jandazur, who's a war hero. Both of them are here, so that's why she came to Altamir, but she definitely will be a knight. This is basically a feeding group for the Order of Ulick. Another character, Tabitha, fighter mage, half-elf, female, from Selene. A little bit of an attitude with her. Of course, she's an NPC female. Of course, she's going to have an attitude. She applied to become a member of the Corellan's Arrows, which is a high-level mercenary group in Greyhawk, and was rejected. They said she didn't have the skills for it, so she joined Iron Fury instead, and is not happy with them. So we'll see what happens with her down the road. Kracian, he's a mountain dwarf, and we have a special class called the Shield Thane, similar to a Dwarven Defender. I don't know how close, but it's a cool class. One of my ex-players helped develop it, and they can do a lot of defensive stances, taunting. They're a fighter subclass. Only dwarves it's a dwarf-only class. So basically, they're the battle tank in the group. So he's a Klangen worshipper, so he's another hardcore fighter type dwarf you'd expect. Yellow Kiwi, especially piece of Uko, human. He's from Altamira as well. He's come over. Another knighthood initiate. Jumped in here knowing that they were looking for hardy adventurers. Very interesting thing about him, he's a specialty priest, but he took one of our feats called Taunt, which normally high-level fighter, hardcore fighters like the Shield Thane automatically would take to draw characters off of others. We got the idea right from World of Warcraft. It works very well in the game as an extra feat. But he's a priest and took it, so kudos for him. Cool character. Let's see who else we got here. We got brother and sister. We got two. I think we got 2 brother and sister groups here. We have Malcolm Darstellar and Samantha Darstellar. They are from the Yeomanry both, but and they're both knight classes. So we have a special class called a knight, and then it'll become there's 3 of them right now. There's Knight of Ulick. There's Knight of the High Forest, and there's the Knights of the Holy Shielding. They are actual character classes. They're both Knights of Ulick. One tends to be the damage person, one tends to be more of a tank. But they have come to work their way up in the knighthood as well, and they're run by 2 different PC people of mine as far as PCs. So that's kind of cool. Brother and sister, and neat idea by them. That's why my players really come up with some really interesting character concepts, and I really appreciate them really trying to do things like that. All right, so let's see what else we got here. We got Jensine Elidwin. She's a specialty priest of Falcon, and Zachary Elidwin. He is a triple class fighter cleric mage. They're both half elves. I believe they are both from Altamira as well, and they have come to seek their fortunes as well. Both half elves. Another generational character. Now this is one of the other player characters and another player character. So we got a lot of brother-sister crossovers here. Falcon's interesting. Falcon, the specialty priestess, she can only use 2 weapons. Well, actually, she can use different types of longbows, but she has longbow and dagger, and that's it. For only melee weapons, a dagger. So we'll see. She tends to want to stay at range, but attacks on the priest table. But first time we've ever had one of those. And here's my rule we have, and we'll go over this one day in the future. The specialty priests, I develop an individual class for each one. There's like 30 some of them. I will only make one new specialty priest class every time we set a new group of characters up. And it's got to be a Greyhawk based deity, or for some special reason a deity we want to add into the campaign. And we've only added in a couple. Uko, we've added Talos, which we call the Stormlord. Ported that over from Forgotten Realms. The Red Knight, we ported over from Forgotten Realms. Maybe 1 or 2 others. We've used a lot for Mayheen. We've used a lot of the Helm stuff for Mayheen just to beef it up a little bit. But, you know, you need to have a reason to have a specialty priest class, what you want to do with it, and then I'll make one of them up because I got to develop an entire spell list, an entire set of abilities. So it takes some time. So Falcon was the new one we did this time. I think the last time I did Flandel Steelskin, the gnomish god of like mining and fire. That was pretty cool. So we have a specialty priest, a gnome specialty priest of that in one of our other groups. So always willing to accommodate my players. It just takes a little bit of time sometimes. So there's our getting backers on our brother-sister combination. Erebus, this is a cool character. Dwarven fighter thief. He's from the Draken's Grabs. What this character is pretty neat, being a fighter thief. He'll decide before the adventure, based on what they have, how he's going to suit up armor-wise. He's going to go with heavier armor and swing his Dwarven Claymore, and really not have much access to his thief abilities because of all the penalties. Or is he going to go with his leather armor, a much lower, worse armor class, and go that thief route, and then go short sword, two-fisted fighting that way. So he has some options. Kind of a really nice, cool PC, flexible character. I like this one a lot. Really got some thought into it, and I know he's definitely in on 99% in on Thursday. So we'll figure it out. He'll have to figure that out. And then some other characters. Chimera Dark Soul. Oh man, where do I start? Necromancer Thief. My one player Alan. He always has. You've probably seen this in some of the other preludes I've done. He always has a very disturbed character. He had the insane character in the other one, and he always has one. This is his disturbed of the 3 group. She is a groupie follower to Salin, who's in the Iron Brigade, and he's a cleric necromancer, and he's the assistant second in command guild master to the Embalmers and Gravediggers Guild. He's a member of the Iron Brigade. He's definitely not good. And we had a major campaign where 15 years ago, he found almost 20. He found a crown, and the crown controlled him, and he turned into this evil person and tried overtaking off Greyhawk. It was kind of a fun adventure. It went from Altamira all the way to Greyhawk, and she's a stalker of Salen's. So she actually took a job making very little money in the sewers, cleaning out the sewers where they sometimes have zombies do that in the sewers for cheap labor. She took the job just so she could get closer to him. So it's true wackadoo stalker here. So we'll see if first of all, I think we may be short 1 or 2 players to start off on Thursday, but yes. So that rounds up discussing the players that are in this group. Some really cool hardcore adventuring types. So they got their tanks, they got their spellcasters, they got their miscellaneous support characters, and they got a wide selection of characters to choose from. Yeah, this is going to start off. They're going to have to go see Corellia Crakesbone, native Ulick, and runs the hiring hall for the knights. The joint hall with the Shieldlanders that we bought. The Knight of Ulick bought from them during the wars and sold them back half. She has a deep hatred for the Shieldlanders on the other side of the building. It's kind of comical, but that's where the adventure will start in Greyhawk, and then work their way up to Diamond Lake. And I'm not going to have this map because we're going to try and keep this to one night. This map we're not going to have any of the Diamond Lake buildings out. I'm going to have some maps. I'm going to have a custom map done for the central area of town, and try and get right into the event, actual gameplay adventuring part. And you have a lot of Dwarven Forge Master Maze out, as you can see in the one picture, for obviously an underground part. But so the table's filled with stuff already, ready to go. This will be another fun adventure. Bringing back the Mongrels was not an easy decision, because I don't want my character to say, "Oh, been there, done that. I'm going to try and change some things up." But we didn't have Twitch. We didn't have getting out ideas to the masses 15 years ago. And this was a really cool, unique idea. So we're going to run with it and see where it goes. So, these characters are second and third level, so you're not going to see anything earth-shattering here. You're going to see an reintroduction to this group. Some interesting creatures they may be fighting. But it's going to be a good old-fashioned find out what's going on at the end adventure. I'm looking forward to running it. We are 99% sure we're going to do this as a live broadcast and not as a record and premiere this Thursday. So looking forward to seeing you online. Please feel free, once again, as always, if you have any questions, you can always find me on the Cannon Fire group on Facebook, or on online on Twitch on the Lord Gazumba channel. I'd be really more than happy to talk to anyone about some of the ideas. We are a first and second edition hybrid, and most of the broadcasts I see are not tabletop based, and they're 5th edition based, which is fine. Hey, to each his own. But for us, we've been playing together. This is year 38 of the campaign. So we're just running with what we know and what we like, what my group enjoys. So you hear a lot of dice clanging on that table all the time, and you see a lot of I call it transiency. You see a lot of people going off and just starting to BS and talk things. Well, that's it's a group of friends getting together, enjoying hanging out with each other, kind of guys going to a bar almost, on Thursday night, having fun and just playing Dungeons and Dragons, which we all love. And so I'm going to bring back to you and show you something that was a really cool idea going some years back. Once again, this has been a prelude for the adventure group Iron Fury, adventure number 825, Mongrels of the Putrid Tongue Revival. My name is Jay, aka Lord Gazumba. Really hope to see you online. See you soon.